Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw a couple of the events after World War I, including the economic collapse of the entire world. In today's episode, we'll be taking a look at a few more events that will be happening after World War I. So, let's get started. Firstly, coming over here, I've made stability and technology maps as well. Don't know if I showed these in the last episode or not, but as you can see, some countries are more stable than others, and some countries have more technology than others. Right. But the first event that we'll be taking a look at is actually going to be dealing with the stability. Coming over here, you can notice that China and Korea as well aren't too stable. Both of them were involved in World War V. China's just been extremely unstable for a while. They kept getting into wars with the nation south of them. But, and now they've also only got a very small amount of coastline left. This has also kind of impacted their technology. A lot of their good technology was centered right in here and right in here. Both lands they don't really own anymore. So, with them, we see a small group begin to break away. But it's actually going to take place, firstly, in Korea. All of these parts of all these parts of Korea will break away. And these are mostly like the main Chinese groups. Like, all of this land here was at one point Chinese. But once these groups break away, they will also take over a very, very large portion of Chinese territory. As even they don't like being under Korean rule, but they didn't like the Chinese rule either. So they want to form their own nation, being the LC nation. And we see that kind of taking place here. Despite being a military ally to Korea, South China will actually be funding these rebels as they see some potential with them. Let's say these rebels will take over a very large portion of both Chinese and Korean territory. And it will look like this just to start off. But this isn't the only rebellion we see over here. And it's not even, and there are other rebellions in the entire world too from this collapse. So we see a more yellow rebellion popping up right in here. They will they'll be kind of taking over a lot of these northern parts from China. As again, like China's more so focusing on just trying to not rebuild itself, but rebuild its government And this new government isn't really caring much for the people. If we come all the way up here, we have an ideology map. As you can see, China is is like a dictatorship. Most countries in the world are monarchies or democracies, a few dictatorships here and there. We even have a single communist nation, and we have this weird one right here that I'm not really sure what it is. So you have all that. So now China's lost a lot of their land, and it's the same with Korea. And Koreans continue to experience loss in land as another rebellion forms right here, taking over all of this. Gosh dang. Alright. So now there are three rebellions here. And then, of course, the fourth one's got to break out. And this fourth one is pretty much all of Japan. These northern parts of Japan, especially. This island kind of remains a bit loyal, though. I mean, these are kind of newer lands, so. But this is all of the rebellious groups, and we'll take a look at what their war will look like. China and Korea are on different teams, and same with the rebellions. So in a way, this war is like a six-way war, but Korea is not fighting China. China's not going to be fighting the Japanese rebellion. But start off, we will be seeing the Yellow team invading in, capturing all of this land. They'll even move in to capture over some of this Cyan team. They capture over part of the Yellow Sea area. So they capture over part of the Yellow Sea area. As for this rebellion here, they will move in to capture a lot of this land. They capture part of this peninsula as well, and they push back against the Yellow team, recapturing all of the Yellow Sea area. As for the Orange team here, they will move in. They will be recapturing this land, and they will push in up here. They then begin pushing into. They then begin to push into Korea as well. Taking a look at capitals, though, Korea's capital is way down here. China's capital has been captured, however. Eventually, we see the Koreans are able to make a pushback-ish. They'll push back against Japan, capturing a very decent part of the Japanese Isles. However, they are one of the more nationalistic countries in the world, so a decent part will come back. We even see parts for here return, and almost all of the Yellow Sea coast is recaptured by the Koreans. since China's capital is already captured, and they're just a very weak nation overall, the Cyan team will be able to well push into their territory. The same can be said for the Seoul team as well, and the rest of it will kind of form another rebellion-ish. But this one's just more, we're trying to, we're just trying to stop the Ukraine, or the Chinese government. We don't want to form a new nation, we just want to reform the government. And these guys will be much more popular. They will be all of this land. So now we kind of just stay over here. The light blue team and the yellow team will kind of just agree to peace. It's not really peace, but the rebellions will realize, you know what? Why invade each other? We're just trying to focus on getting our territory. And taking a look at the cities, this major city here is kind of the capital for this, like, man, kind of northern Korean, not really North Korea. This this is like what their capital would be. These guys, their capitals would be up here, and these guys, this would be their capital. As for these guys, they wouldn't have the same capital as China, but clearly that's not in their reach. And then the Japanese, their capital would be like right in there. So coming back to the Japanese, we see they're able to push the Koreans back quite a bit. The Koreans will hold on to a decent amount of land still. The Koreans will move up, capturing all of the LC coasts for North Korea and what their capital would be. And then a major spearhead is made by North Korea to push in, separating these two groups. And they're right there. After that move is made, it kind of becomes stalemated, and eventually all of the groups over here agree to peace with at each other at the least. And these guys, the orange team, they've already agreed to peace. These three have already agreed to peace with each other. These two have already agreed to peace with these guys. China doesn't really get a say anymore, as they don't really exist. But for Korea, they will still attempt at continuing to fight. They will move back in, capture at least some more land they can, before eventually saying we'll just sit down, make a peace treaty, and we'll take a look at what that said peace treaty will look like. Alright, so here we have our quick peace treaty. Alright, so here we have our quick peace treaty. India will still remain with all of this land. However, this new country will be getting these lands. And you might have remembered I said, and Bangladesh. And that is because Bangladesh and this country will actually become a union. So you have North India and South India pretty much. And similar to how South China is organizing their country, India will kind of do the same, except the actual Indian capital is the only one that's removed. Alright. So now we have two more events happening this episode. First one is our daily Melanesian update. It's actually very simple. Another new country. This part from the or no, East Indo New Guinea will kind of break away from the real East Indo New Guinea, and these guys are just now this island. It will be, you know what? This is the color of Borneo. It will be the same color as Borneo. So these guys just got back, and then they ended up not being able to do anything because, like with most other nations, a lot of the money that the countries are getting are going over to the government, and people are getting really poor, and it's just not a good thing. And we see another thing happening over here, and that is this part of the Australian country will break away. They'll kind of form this deeper orange country. Just coloring areas where there's be something to happen. And so we have another Australian country now. And for the capital of these two, firstly, this country's capital will be in the major city right here. That major city. And for the pink team, it will be this major city. But you'll have one more. Man, actually, sequences power rankings. Alright, so we do have just a couple edits on the power rankings layer. Power rankings layer. India is no longer 19th. These guys are no longer 8th. So everybody after 8 is going to be moving up 1. You know what? So Korea will move down, still being in the top 20. They are now the 19th strongest. The new 20th is going to, Bangladesh is now 18th. So we'll update power ranking. We'll just update. We'll update the power rankings for anybody under the top 8. Above or 7 and above, the power rankings will not change, but otherwise they kind of will. Alright, so we have our 18th and 19th. But let's do the others. I did put the 7th strongest nation, right? Oh, Sumatra. Alright. So, 8 is now these guys here. 9th. 9th will go to North France. Or West France. 10th goes to these guys here. 11th to these guys. The sign team is the 12th. Germany is 13th. 14th goes to these guys. These guys would be 16th. This 14th is Michigan. These guys are 15th. 17th will be going over to. No, no, not 17th. Actual 17th. These guys will be the actual 17th. And then these guys are, again, 20th. Alright, so that will do it for today's episode of What If Civilization Started Over. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Alright, so here we have our peace treaty. All that happens with China is their government is going to be reformed. This new government is a democracy. I'll add ideologies for the other guys later. Pretty much here, all that happened was, these guys just got their independence. They weren't really allowed for any more land. Korea, ideology. Korea got this land back, and North Korea is allowed their independence. Korea also kept part of their peninsula here. And then over here, all of that. Was just fixing up a mistake on my end. There. Now, capitals. Capital is going to be the major city that I said the countries would have as their capital. Now, for this country here, you might remember. You might have noticed I had this open. That's because it is the Japanese Union. Technically, this isn't the right map for it, but it's close enough. So, I didn't actually change anything on that map other than I got off the uh, religion layer. Alright, now we've put the capitals in. Coming up to ideology. The ideologies of these nations. For these two, they're democracies. Hold on, I'll redo all that. So these guys are both democracies, and the other two are both going to be monarchies. So at this point, most nations are monarchies. Very few that are not either monarchy or democracy. And one of those few is India. India. They are they're a dictatorship, just like China was. And just like China, they're also very, very unstable. For they do have actually about the same technology. Their technology is a bit better, however, but still, that will not change the fact that they will also be experiencing a civil war from the effects of World War One. However, for these people, it is mostly just because they're not getting really any money from it. All of the money is being given to the government, and everybody over here is just really poor. So you have this large group of people, or you have a couple large groups of people just coming together. And there will be three of these groups, which are pretty much all of these. These are kind of rough, but these are the groups. And they'll all work together and quickly be able to meet up with one another. And this, after pretty much all of this land's taken, India's economy is severely affected to the point where they will decide to unionize with the orange team. In the last episode, I believe they unionized with these guys down here. Maybe it was the episode before. I don't remember. But now they've unionized with these guys. But taking a look at the alliance layer, India was in the Triangle Military Alliance, and these guys were in the Cross Military Alliance. And those two alliances aren't too friendly with each other. So, what had happened is they will be leaving both alliances. Neither country, neither country really wants to be in their alliance anymore. And the same is also said for these two members in the Cross Alliance. So the Cross Alliance just lost a couple valuable members down here. And same with the Triangle Alliance. But now, coming back to this war, it's beginning to come to a close. However, India is able to push back a little bit more, recapturing a major city, and will agree to let this country be. So, India, Bangladesh, and this country will all sit down at a meeting.